What happens when a team chasing glory is pushed past its limit before the season even hits its peak? Arsenal's title hopes hang in the balance after another bruising week. A strong win over Brentford should have brought celebration. But instead, it brought something darker. 2 more key players forced off, rising fear in the dressing room, and a furious manager warning that football is reaching a breaking point. This story dives into the pressure, the cost, and the growing fear of collapse as the fixtures pile up. Something is stretching Arsenal thin, and what happens next could decide the entire title race. Because this is not just about football. It is about how far a team can go before something finally gives. And the answer may come sooner than anyone expects. Could a schedule built for profit end up destroying a contender built for glory? The questions start with the moment Declan Rice grabbed his side and dropped to a knee. The stadium went silent, and one thought raced across North London. How many more were Europe, league games, and domestic cups stacked on top of each other? Arsenal find themselves fighting 3 battles at once. But the biggest threat is the one they cannot escape: the calendar. The rush of games has already claimed William Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, and others who are meant to form the spine of this title run. Now the list grows again. So, the real question becomes, how long can a team survive when survival itself becomes the hardest match? Arteta's anger did not come from emotion. It came from fear. After the Brentford win, he looked at the reporters and said something simple. Players aren't machines. A sentence that sounded less like frustration and more like a warning. Because the truth is harsh. Every player knows the next 90 minutes could be the one that takes them out. Every sprint in December feels heavier than the last. And every injury changes something bigger than a lineup. It changes belief. But what makes this moment more dangerous is the one thing Arsenal cannot control: the schedule that keeps tightening around them. So the next question rises: if Arsenal break, does someone else benefit by simply surviving the chaos? The story deepens with Christian Mosquera's injury. A young defender who was supposed to add fresh legs to a defense already bent under pressure. Instead, he joins the growing list on the medical table. Another body lost to a season that refuses to slow down. The tension around the club feels almost physical. Training sessions once filled with chatter now have a quiet edge. Coaches count minutes instead of touches. Recovery becomes the most important part of the day. Anything that conserves energy becomes strategy. But there is a twist. Despite the injuries and despite the fatigue, Arsenal keep winning. 2 goals against Brentford, smart, controlled football. A team that refuses to fold even as the walls close in. And that sets up the next question. One that no analyst has a clear answer for. Is this resilience? Or the calm before a collapse? Fans feel both hope and dread at the same time. Hope because the team looks alive. Dread because it may be costing too much. In the middle of all this, Europe looms. Bigger matches, faster pace, more travel, more strain. The kind of nights that can break even the strongest squad if they come too soon after domestic battles. Arteta has said it for months. The schedule is becoming dangerous. But now his words carry new weight, because the consequences are no longer hypothetical. They are standing right in front of Arsenal's title dream. He wants change. Fewer matches, more rest. A system that protects players instead of draining them. But he knows change in football moves slower than recovery from a hamstring tear. So the suspense sharpens. If Arsenal keep losing players, does the style of football change? Does a fast-pressing team suddenly need to slow down? Does bravery turn into caution? Because a team built to fight on the front foot cannot win a title, limping backwards. Inside the locker room, the message is simple: push harder. But the bodies pushing harder are the same bodies breaking under the weight. The drama now is not just about football. It is about sacrifice. About how much a team gives up for a chance at glory. Late-night ice baths, painkillers before training. Young players asked to play roles meant for veterans. Veterans asked to play twice as many minutes as planned. This is the hidden cost of fixture congestion. A cost paid not in money, but in muscle, bone, and breath. Another question forms. Does success require pain? Or is this pain a warning that success is being stolen? Kids. It is not just Arsenal. Every season, the same story repeats across Europe. But this year, the spotlight burns brighter because Arsenal are close. Close enough that one injury could tilt the title race. Close enough that every lost player feels like a step further from the trophy. And close enough that Arteta's anger feels justified, not emotional. When he said players aren't machines, the room shifted. Because the truth echoed beyond the match. Machines do not feel fatigue. Machines do not limp off the field. Machines do not hold their breath when a teammate collapses. Humans do. That is why this moment is so heavy. Arsenal's success is built on human effort pushed to its limits, but limits always push back. The next part of the story brings the biggest twist. The depth of the squad, once praised as a strength, is now being tested in real time. Youngsters, backups, and rotation players must step into pressure they have never carried before. Some rise, some struggle. All feel the weight, and with more matches coming in quick waves, the margin for error shrinks to almost nothing. Arsenal's title chase has turned into a game of survival. But in survival, something else emerges, a new kind of fire. A team that refuses to break sometimes finds a sharper edge, a harder focus, a sense of fighting not only for points, but for teammates watching from the medical room. That fire fueled the win over Brentford. Controlled, efficient, determined. But even victory carries its own shadow, because every match won leads to another match waiting. So the next question becomes darker. Is this bravery or burnout? Arteta's frustration stems from something deeper. He understands that a title race is a marathon disguised as a sprint. Every point matters, every mistake echoes. Every injury can swing momentum. But what happens when the marathon is run without water breaks? When the sprint never slows? When recovery becomes a luxury instead of a given? Football is reaching a breaking point, and Arsenal may be the team standing closest to the edge. The injuries stack up like dominoes. Saliba's back, Gabriel's knocks, Rice's pain, Mosquera's setback. Small problems grow into big problems when matches come every 3 days. Recovery windows shrink. Muscles tighten faster. Arteta has used the word unsustainable. Coaches rarely say that out loud, but he did, because the truth is clear. If the schedule does not change, something else will. And that something may be Arsenal's title dreams. Yet, there is a strange beauty in the chaos. Great teams are not defined by perfect seasons. They are defined by the moments when everything seems impossible. This is Arsenal's impossible moment. But from the answer to the most important question, can they survive this? Depends on what comes next. More matches, more pressure, more minutes on legs already shaking, but also more chances to prove something greater, resilience that cannot be taught. So the final tension rises. What breaks first, the team or the system built around them? The climax comes with a truth no one wants to hear. The schedule will not slow down. The injuries will not magically heal. The pressure will not disappear. Arsenal must continue this fight with the bodies they have left, the spirit they carry, and the hope that it is enough. But hope does not stop hamstrings from tearing. Hope does not heal ankles overnight. Hope does not hold the defense line when leaders are missing. And so the title chase becomes a haunting equation. Glory on one side, cost on the other. Balance shifting with every match. The final line falls like a warning whispered across the league. A title can be won with courage, but it can be lost to the calendar. This story kept you watching. Tap like and subscribe so more people see it. Share it with anyone following the title race this season. And drop a comment on whether fixture congestion is killing the game or just part of modern football. More dramatic football stories drop soon. Don't miss the next chapter.